Representative Stevens, Representative Kilmer, thank you very much for being with us. The future of work and the transformation that's taking place. Again, we're indebted to both of you for being with us. We're going to have a little conversation with you, and we're going to start with my colleague Shannon Meade from the National Restaurant Association.
Representative Kilmer, let's start with you if we can. Who are the new Dems and what role are they playing in the future of work transformation in the Congress?
Sure. The New Democrat Coalition is a coalition now of 101 members of the United States House that are really focused on pro-growth, pro-innovation, fiscally responsible policies, focused on working across the aisle to actually solve problems in this place. We're called the New Dems because a lot of it's about looking at old problems through a new lens. Oftentimes in our nation's capital, the discussion around economic issues is often focused around how to distribute the economic pie. Our focus as a coalition is on growing that economic pie and making sure that everyone has an opportunity to earn a slice of it. We've been very active in engaging on these issues around the future of work. In fact, we did a white paper that is focused on trying to ensure that no matter what zip code someone lives in, they're able to earn a good living. That effort really focused on three issues. One, trying to modernize our education system so that we're providing more opportunities to connect people throughout their lives to career-connected learning opportunities. Second, trying to establish a system of portable benefits so that as work changes, where someone doesn't necessarily, as my father did, spend 50 years in the same job, that they're able to navigate economic change and not be victimized by it. And three, looking at our social safety net, looking at things like our unemployment insurance system, looking at our system of trade adjustment assistance, and acknowledging that as our economy changes, that those safety net programs need to change as well.
Question for Representative Kilmer. Representative Kilmer, your home state of Washington is a real thought leader on this issue. In fact, one of the members of your state task force is on the stage here with us today. As a state senator, you were very supportive of legislation on lifelong learning. You have introduced a bill this Congress. Can you tell us a little bit about that legislation, what it would do, how it would work, and how it would be paid for?
Yeah, the legislation is called the Skills Investment Act, and it mirrors something that we worked on in the state of Washington called lifelong learning accounts, or LILAs for short. And the idea was that it would be an optional, portable, tax-advantaged benefit where an employer and an employee would pay into an account. Again, optional and portable. And the idea would be that those dollars, much like a 401k or a health savings account, but in this instance, the account would be focused on workforce development, on training. It could be used by a worker who's in a job and looking to upskill themselves so that they can go on and move up the wage ladder, maybe go take night classes. It could be used if someone was laid off and they had to seek retraining. And we've actually seen it used in really interesting ways. So for example, in Grays Harbor County, Washington, which is a county in my state that has one of the highest rates of unemployment in the state of Washington, we actually saw the McDonald's franchisor offer to their workers these lifelong learning accounts. So you had, in some instances, entry-level people who were taking night classes at the local community college and were able to follow their career dream. And when you talk to the franchisor, their reaction was, one, this is an opportunity potentially for my entry-level folks to enter a management position in my company, or to go on to another job where they can become prosperous and become really good customers of my franchise.
Representative Stevens, your home state of Michigan and your district in particular suffered extremely high unemployment, foreclosures and the like just a short time ago. But now things are completely different. You're really thriving. You talk about it's not that jobs go away, but that the jobs change. So how is your district, how did you embrace these changing nature of jobs to bring about this transformation?
Well, we're seeing it all over the automotive supply chain in particular. You're absolutely right. 10 years ago, the economy was bottoming out. We had the largest drop in automotive sales in the history of the automobile. And now we have double-digit growth in automotive in particular. And where we've seen a lot of the growth is in the supply chain. Small and mid-sized manufacturers in particular who've stuck to their knitting, doubled down, and stuck to workforce training, on-the-job training. Some of the things that I've seen as best practices are the use of light-guided parts assembly, working with earn and learn programs, and starting at a young age. Michigan is known for our secondary educational opportunities for students. We do apprenticeships starting in high school that plug students into jobs before they graduate. And one of the things in Michigan that's particularly exciting is all the research and development. 75% of the country's R&D and autonomous vehicle technology is coming right out of the suburbs of Detroit, 2-to-1 patents. We've got Silicon Valley knocking on our door. So communities that had seen a downturn, that were almost staring at the bottom of the barrel, stuck to their knitting, stuck to the manufacturing base, and we've created new job opportunities as well. We have rejected the notion that all the jobs are going away. We've embraced change, and as public policy makers, we've got a role to play as change management officers to usher in the next wave of new technologies and job training opportunities as a result.
Well, Representative Stevens, we refer to that as TIDE, technologically induced displacement of employment, which is not the same as technologically induced destruction of employment. What do you see as the next steps in Michigan's evolution in embracing this changing workforce, much as we talked about with your colleague here as to what Washington is doing?
Well, I see it as choosing both. We need to have the analog skills and the high-tech skills. We need to learn how to fix the machines, run the machines, as well as bring in new technologies like sensors and interconnected factory floors. The digitization that's sweeping its way over our manufacturing base is actually an economic opportunity that we can expand throughout regions like mine and throughout the country. I think that we've got a unique opportunity here, particularly in the Midwest, where we've been known for our grit and, our boots on the ground, as well as our ability to see companies like Data Speed that are creating autonomous vehicle technology right in industrial parks located in suburbs. So we've got unique opportunities, obviously some challenges, but they're challenges that we aren't afraid to turn into opportunities.
Question for both of you. Historically, employers expect workers to be qualified for the job. Some employers have been somewhat hesitant to provide training for fear that, once workers are trained, they may leave for a competitor. Given the AI transformation, how do we change this culture?
Yeah, I'll start with that. We, in the 21st century, live in a self-directed learning economy. You talk to anybody who's been working over the last 20 years, and their career has been benefited from on-the-job training and learning opportunities, whether your company encouraged it or whether you seized it by the reins and did it yourself. That's the internet age that we all live in. What I believe that we can do better, particularly as public policy makers, is continue to support work that enables the small and mid-sized companies to do that on-the-job training without the fear of losing their employers. Certainly starting at a young age, starting at the high school level through apprenticeship programs. The role of our unions certainly are quite unique in that respect, but let's keep it going. The workforce is buttressed by those that are going to come into it and those that are currently working in the manufacturing arena. And so what I'd like to see is a concerted interagency effort on behalf of the federal government in partnership with our states to encourage the next generation of technology adoption throughout the workforce and not stopping because we've got fear of competition. Competition is great. Collaboration in the 21st century is the way to win.
So we know we have people who need jobs. We also know that we have a lot of jobs that need people. And I think employers in the state of Washington have found that it is in their interest both to attach to our training institutions so that they can find good skilled workers and as a means of holding on to those workers. So as an example, there's an effort around career connected learning in the state of Washington where employers are working hand in hand with local community colleges, even with local high schools. In Tacoma, Washington, at Stadium High School, they have a new health sciences high, where the two largest private employers in our county are working on curriculum. They are providing opportunities on the ground in their hospitals, and they're finding an extraordinary return on investment because those young people are attaching into the local high school. The other thing that the New Democrats are looking at is the fact that there seems to be this disconnect between what employers currently employ and what employers say they need. About a quarter of job listings are for positions that are currently held by people who have a baccalaureate degree or higher. But if you look at the job listings, about 60% of those listings say they need a baccalaureate degree. So one of the things we're looking at is, can we look more at on-the-job experience, work experience that isn't necessarily a higher education credential, but other types of credentials where someone can succeed in that job. We've asked for a study from the Office of Management and Budget to look at that issue, and I think the federal government, frankly, can be a leader in that regard.
Representative Kilmer, how do we get the educational system to begin teaching workforce skills?
I think you've really seen the educational institutions see the value of workforce training, career and tech ed training. I think for a number of years, actually in our nation's capital, we sort of took our eye off that ball and dissed the notion of career and tech ed. I think that's changed out of a recognition that not everybody's going to go to college, and that's okay, that there are positions that don't require a four-year baccalaureate degree, but that may require an industry certification or a community college degree. So the way we've seen that sort of filter into to our education institutions is, one, in the K-12 arena, a real focus more on career-connected learning, where you see partnerships between our K-12 institutions and industries. Sometimes that's in high tech, sometimes that's in health sciences, sometimes that's in the building trades, where you've seen in my neck of the woods, construction companies and labor unions work really hand in hand with the high schools in skills centers, so that when someone graduates, they may not only graduate with a high school diploma, they graduate with an industry certification or a pre-apprenticeship, and they're on their way into a union apprenticeship program that can lead to a good job that pays a good wage. In our community colleges, we're seeing more industry skills panels, more industry partnership, where there's sort of an ongoing collaboration between K-12, higher education, and industry, where industry is saying, here's where we see our needs as we look into our crystal ball, and here's how those skills can be met through curriculum in our education institutions. I think that's really smart partnership, and I think you're going to need to see more and more of that.
Do you see this future of work transformation and the issues that we've been talking about here today as a bipartisan issue, so that all stakeholders can come together in order to solve this issue?
Absolutely. One of the reasons why I've spent my time in Congress talking about innovation, talking about job training, talking about advanced manufacturing is because it is a place where we can come together and that the partisan swords can come down and we can come up with real solutions. I just introduced my first bill, the Building Blocks of STEM Act, to encourage early childhood education in STEM careers. And I did it in a bipartisan, bicameral way. And that's the type of way in which you can start to see this body work together. That's something that the American people are looking at. I know back in Michigan, that's something my district is also looking for in terms of how we think about job training opportunities, employment growth. We've got a success story in Michigan. It's something we want to take to the country.
The good news is that Democrats and Republicans acknowledge that we need to empower people to navigate economic change rather than to be victims of it. As we look across the country, there are blue districts and red districts where people are really hanging on for dear life as the economy has changed. You know, we've seen industries that have gone away. We've seen industries that have just seen fundamental change. And part of the role of policymakers, Democrats and Republicans, is to make sure that we're empowering people to deal with that change. It's why I have great gratitude to the Emma Coalition for really shining a bright light on this, because this is about our future. when I talk to folks in my neck of the woods, frankly, they're less concerned about whether we move more to the left or more to the right. They just want us to move forward as a country rather than backward as a country. Because in the end, this is about your granddaughter, this is about my kids, this is about our ability to ensure that in communities like the one in which I grew up, that our main export isn't going to be kids. We want to make sure that regardless of what zip code you live in, that you can earn a good living. And I think that's something that Democrats and Republicans can really find agreement on and can work together on.